We're now live.
Hey,
There you go.
thank you. I'm going to call this meeting to order. I'll remind everyone to please disclose of any pecuniary interest at the appropriate time and go down to the minutes of the previous council meeting from August 23rd, 2021. Need a mover and a seconder to approve those minutes. Moved by Councillor Morris, seconded by Councillor White. Thank you. Any questions or comments, errors or omissions on those? All in favor of receiving and filing those minutes? That is carried. Thank you. There's no business arising from previous meetings. Sorry. I will go down to scheduled meetings and events. And if there's no questions on those, we'll go down to councillors' commitments and items. So does anybody, sorry, my dogs are a little crazy tonight. Does anyone have any additions for your councillors' commitments?
No.
Seeing none, I will ask Councillor Morris, do you have anything for council today?
No, I do not have anything tonight.
All right, thank you. And Councillor White?
Nothing tonight.
Okay, the only thing I had, council, was just to let everyone know that Libro did open their new office today in the downtown. So I had talked to somebody from their administration and they're very excited to get started. They were wondering about the parking lot across the street, as the current parking lot behind the building is not being used because it hasn't been paved yet. So I believe they were wondering if council would allow their staff to park in that parking lot across the street from Libro until such time that the parking lot is paved. So I'm assuming that we would need a motion to go along with that. I have informed them. Thank you.
I second the motion.
Right, seconded by Councillor Morris. I have advised them that they would need to include the township in their insurance to make sure that there would be no issues there. Does staff have any comments about this?
I did. I just checked with Public Works for our winter clearing, as I suspect that they'll still need to use it into the winter, and we'll just work with them, and because we pile our snow in the one corner, so that should be no problem. We'll work with them in the wintertime.
That's fantastic. I'm sure that the staff at Libro will really appreciate that. If there's no other questions or comments about that, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And that's all I had. So we'll move on to staff items. I'm going to turn it over to Amanda to give us an update on the ICIP Green Stream Grant application.
Thank you, Mayor Rombouts. I'm just following up on a report and resolution that was approved by council at our last regular meeting in August. So council had approved a resolution to proceed with the ICIP Green Stream application to support a specific set of 4 streets water main replacements. And so thank you for that. We did finalize the application and submit it by the deadline, which was last week. However, in doing the final work to prepare for the application, we did note that the Warwick Street portion of that application that was presented to council had actually already been updated, and our mapping hadn't been updated in advance of our first council report. So to support that, we did make an amendment, an administrative amendment to support another location in town, which was on Erie Street. But to confirm the updated resolution, I was hoping that council could pass the recommended resolution to support that administrative change.
Okay, Councillor White, would you like to move that?
I'll move it.
Councillor Morris is going to second that. Any questions?
Yes, I will.
Thank you. All in favor? That is carried.
Thank you.
And we'll go on to a verbal update from Teresa on the requests from previous council meeting.
Yeah, so item number 1, the ball diamond bleacher handrails. Did consult Lambton County Building Department. They are not required for the current bleachers. Handrails are not required, but if we were to purchase new ones, they would be required. So the next step is looking at retrofitting. There is a company out that does retrofit ball diamond bleachers. It would be 10 in total because we have 4 at Watford and 2 at Warwick. And then looking at the option of, depending on the cost, also purchasing new ones, depending on which makes more sense economically. So I should have that information hopefully for the next meeting. And the individual that I spoke to originally that called requesting handrails, I have followed up with that individual to explain the process and where we're at with it right now. Okay, the second item was the lights left on at the Watford Ball Diamond over Cornfest weekend. And I did follow up with the ball conveners of that tournament, as well as the Optimus Club. So if you recall, we increased the area of serving alcohol so that we could physically distance with COVID regulations. So that meant that people were sitting at the ball diamonds with either food or beverages or both. So what I came to find out is that because the bar closes after the tournament is done, people couldn't see in that area to be able to return. So I did send an email and in consultation with them all to say, okay, completely understand that because it was us that increased the area for physically distancing, that they were to turn the new ball diamond lights off immediately after the last game and keep the Optimus ball lights on until the bar closed. So that's what was convened with the users. And the Watford concession booth renovations, I have followed up again just today with concession leaseholders, and they said they've been busy with holidays and with the booth itself. And they're getting ready to move into the Alvinston Arena. So we're still awaiting their power requirements to see how much service is needed in that building. So hopefully they can get that to us sooner than later.
Okay, thank you very much, Teresa, for that update. Councillor Morse, do you have a question?
Yeah, Teresa, the north bleachers on the new diamond,
Yes.
they're missing backs also. The rest of
Okay,
them have back. But can you have a glance at that too, please?
Yep, definitely. It's on my list.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no worries.
Okay, any other questions on that update? All right, I'm going to just bring it back to Amanda. She has a staffing announcement for us.
Thank you, Mayor Rumbout. So I do have an additional verbal update that was not listed on the agenda. Thanks for allowing that for me today. So I wanted to advise council and our public viewers that I'm happy to announce that we do have a new team member on board, and Stephanie Catrice is here with us tonight. And I just wanted to provide an introduction to her. She's the township's new economic development and promotions specialist. She came on board with us as of August 24th. So we're almost on our second week. And so we're very excited to have her, and welcome, Stephanie.
Welcome, Stephanie.
Yes, absolutely. Welcome on board. We've been looking forward to having you on our team for some time now. So
thank you very much.
I'm sure we'll keep you very busy.
Yep. I'm enjoying the role so far and getting right in it. So Amanda and Trevor and Andrew, everybody's been really great at the office. So really looking forward to the growth that's taking place in the township. Pretty excited.
Fantastic. That's great. I'm going to circle back and welcome Councillor Mitchell. Just wanted to double check that you didn't have any councillors' items for us tonight.
No, not this evening, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we are going to skip over delegations for now and come back to that because it's not until 6:30. We'll go down to the accounts and the GL report. Any questions or comments on that? We do need a motion to receive and file that. Councillor Morris and Councillor Mitchell. All in favor? That is carried. We'll go down to 11A, the non-action correspondence. Is there anything council would like to highlight or discuss from the non-action correspondence this evening? All right, we need a motion to receive and file that correspondence. Moved by Councillor Mitchell, seconded by Councillor White. All in favor? That is carried. And we'll go down to the action correspondence. We'll just go through that list. There's the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 172 Watford Drumhead letter. So that's, I believe, a reminder to council that that ceremony is going on. They don't need any approvals or anything for that, do they? No? Okay, thank you. The City of Hamilton resolution regarding noise concerns and expiry of extended construction hours. The Town of South Bruce Peninsula lottery licensing and assist small organizations. And AMO's draft resolution for National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. Councillor White.
I'd like to support that one. I think
Okay,
it's important that we recognize some of the things in our past that as Canadians, we should not look favorably on. And I think it's important for our Indigenous brothers and sisters out there. So
certainly. And it looked to me like Councillor Mitchell, you were seconding that. Any other discussion on that resolution? All in favor? That is carried. Thank you, councillors. I agree wholeheartedly with your statement. We do need a motion to receive and file the remainder of the correspondence. Sorry, Councillor Morris, did you have a comment?
Yes, I'd like to, the Royal Canadian Legion drumhead. But did anybody see a time on the letter? I didn't notice the time.
I believe it starts at 10,
Okay.
but I could be wrong. Or they're assembling at 10.
It does appear that you're correct, Councillor Morris. I don't see one either, but I will take that as an action item to confirm
Okay.
with Tony and report back to council.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And just to confirm that the banners that the Legion has ordered will be up for that ceremony as well. Fantastic, thank you. I know there's quite a few people from the community looking forward to seeing those up. All right, we need a motion to receive and file the remainder of the correspondence. Thank you, Councillor Morris and Councillor White. All in favor? That is carried. We'll go down to staff reports, and the first one on the agenda is 13A, the current municipal service levels and COVID-19 impacts. Need a motion to receive and file that report. Councillor Morris and Councillor White, thank you. Any questions or comments on that report? All in favor of receiving and filing that? Thank you. And we have the proposed newsletter content. There is a recommendation there that we receive and file that. Councillor White and Councillor Mitchell, any additions to that list that council would like to see? All right, all in favor of receive. Oh, Councillor Morris, did you have a
I
comment?
just have I guess a question. I don't know if it should be in the newsletter or not, but I've been asked by quite a few people about when the fundraising campaign is going to begin. Will they be able to use this tax year?
It's an excellent question. Will they be able to use this tax year? I'll turn that over to Teresa to answer that, perhaps.
My apologies. Trevor, can you speak to that? Sorry about.
I really don't know. It depends when it gets kicked off. If it's kicked off prior to the end of the current year and the donation is committed to prior to the end of the current year, yes. If it's not, then it won't be. Until that's the best I can provide at this time.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, any other questions? All in favor of receiving and filing that? Thank you. That's carried. We'll go to committee and other minutes. There's the minutes of the Warwick Township Cemetery Board meeting of August 25th. We need a mover and a seconder to receive and file those minutes. Moved by Councillor Mitchell, seconded by Councillor Morris. Anything you would like to highlight for us, Councillor Morris?
Oh, it was a very good meeting. Decoration Day. I was very pleased. I think there was close to 50 people there. I want to thank Teresa for all her help. But it was very pleased because I was a little worried that we didn't have one last year, but it was a very good turnout.
It sounds like it. That's fantastic to hear.
Yeah.
All in favor of receiving and filing that? That is carried. Thank you. The minutes of the Parks and Recreation Committee meeting of August 25th. We need a mover and a seconder to receive and file those minutes. Councillor White and Councillor Morris. Councillor White, as chair, do you have anything you'd like to highlight from those minutes?
Not particularly, no. So,
Okay.
thanks.
Thank you. All in favor of receiving and filing those? That is carried. Thanks. All right, council, we are on a roll here tonight. This never has happened. Amanda, do you have any suggestions?
Well, I don't know about for 15 minutes, but for one of them, I can confirm Stephanie looked up for us during our further discussion, and the Legion note on their drumhead service does indicate to drive by around 11:30. Stephanie, I'll let you speak to that if I'm incorrect. Go ahead.
Yeah, it said to arrive by 11:30 to form at 12 noon. It just didn't indicate where they typically form. If they typically do that right at the branch and then march down to the service site?
This year is this is a bit different than the regular ceremony. I thought they said something about Cal Tire, but I could be wrong.
Okay.
Well,
Again,
we'll still take that as an action for follow-up for council. Definitely.
Okay. So we have about 12 minutes before our first delegation, which does not give us time to go in camera and then come back out, I don't believe. So I guess we could take a 10-minute break. This is just unheard of.
It is.
Stephanie, did you have a suggestion?
I don't have a suggestion, but I was able to find the flyer for the drumhead service. So it does say to form at Cal Tire. So you were correct. And then it says at 12:15, they will do the march off to the cenotaph.
And then the speeches are at the cenotaph. Okay.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Yes, that's very helpful. Has anybody seen the new Libro building lately since the signs have gone up?
Libro?
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks good. I haven't been in yet.
There's a feature wall with the brick from the old building in there as well, which is
Good. I'll have to make a point of going in and taking some money.
Well, Mayor Rumbutz, maybe we should take a 8-minute, 9-minute break.
All right,
we can
will see
continue to
everybody.
live stream, I think, just in case there's any viewers, so they'll be able to continue to watch. But we could reconvene at 8:28 or something of that nature.
That sounds good. Thank you. All right. For those of you who are joining us from YouTube and got a blank screen, we just finished most of our open business before the delegations a little bit early, so took a few minutes break. It is 6:28, so we have a minute or two before the delegation starts, but we can welcome people in, I think, at this point.
And Mayor Rumboats, we do have Councillor Marsh from Linden Shores who's here joining us. I'll just let him in now.
Okay. Is Councillor Marsh with us now? Okay. Then we do need a motion that Warwick Township Council proceed into the Court of Revisions for the Eastman Meadows Drain 2021 bylaw number 88 of 2021. That is moved by Councillor Mitchell, seconded by Councillor White. I'd welcome Mr. Dave Marsh, Councillor and representative from Lambton Shores, as a member of the Court of Revision, and ask, have any written appeals been received?
No, none, Mayor Rumboats, sorry.
All right, does anyone present have any verbal appeals? Since there are no appeals filed, the following resolution is to be passed. The motion is that the Court of Revisions from the Eastman Meadows Drain 2021 bylaw number 88 of 2021 be closed without changes to the report and that we go back into open council. That is moved by Councillor White, seconded by Councillor Mitchell. All in favor? That is carried. That was nice and quick. Thank you, Mr. Marsh, for joining us tonight.
Jackie, do you have a picture of me?
Sorry?
Do you
No,
have
we
a
can't
picture of
see
me?
you.
Sorry?
We can't see you right now.
Okay.
We can hear you. Okay.
There we
There
go.
you are. Hi, how are you, Dave? Were you able to hear the part of the meeting that we just
Oh,
did?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yep.
So we are good. I think you're good to go. Your job is done. And we are going to be moving on to our next delegation very shortly. If we want to welcome Mr. Pickfield in for the review of his team's comments on the waste management terms of reference.
Sure, I will let him in, Mayor Rumboats, and Councillor Marsh, I'll let you go on as well with your evening, if that's okay.
Or what's that? What's that again?
We're all done that section of the meeting,
Okay.
the Court of Revision. So we're just letting you know that anytime you want to take off, you're more than welcome.
Oh, that was it.
That was it.
Nobody challenged the amounts, eh?
No, there was no written or verbal appeals. So.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Thanks
thank
a lot.
you.
And is Mr. Pickfield with us?
He was.
Yeah.
He was, but I saw him, but he is gone. So maybe we'll give him another minute to join us back. here he is. He should be joining us. There.
There he is.
Happy
Hey,
to-
how are you? Sorry, I got connected and then I got cut off for a second, but I'm back. Hello,
Great.
everybody.
Hi,
Good
Peter.
to see you.
Good to see you all. So I just wanted to meet with you this evening to give you an update on where we are on the peer review for the team's review of the WM waste optimization EA. And I've circulated a couple of documents to everybody to review to give you a sense of where we are on the review. And really, I wanted to say, first of all, that the purpose of tonight's delegation is really just to let council know where we are in the process and to get a general authorization to move ahead to send a draft report to WM with some recommendations on how the TOR can be strengthened. The terms of reference document can be strengthened. Now, I have circulated a report to everybody. I'll give you a sort of just a very general, quick overview of what the process has been so far. So, and we're almost completed our peer review at this stage, and we're ready to submit it shortly to WM. But where we are at this stage is as you know, there's an 11 discipline team that has been reviewing this on behalf of the township, including a range of disciplines. And it's been a thorough process. All disciplines have provided draft individual reports. And we have had 2 team meetings where we have discussed common themes and areas where the team agrees there should be some recommended changes to the TOR. I don't know if I need to go through those in detail tonight, but I did provide you with a draft summary of those. I'm open to council's views as to whether they need to hear that. But I can tell you that I'm certainly available to answer any questions on that tonight, and I can do a brief review. But in the time that's available, I'm not going to do it justice. And I don't think the purpose of tonight's meeting is to get council to really make any determination on this. This is an independent peer review. It's not completed, but it will be completed soon. And the most important thing to take away is that it's going to be submitted to WM for review. It's quite reasonable that they get an opportunity to review these responses and to provide us with written responses back. They may even wish to consult directly with some of the team members with questions about the review, and that's also reasonable. But that at the end of this process, we will come back to council with a final peer review report. And that's the report that you will need to look at in terms of what your next steps are. So I think it's reasonable to provide an opportunity for perhaps a bit of dialogue between the 2 teams, and also, but certainly responses from WM to these proposed changes that we're suggesting to the TOR. And I don't want to get council immersed in the middle of that. I don't think it's appropriate because it is really a discussion amongst experts right now. And then we will come back with a full report and explain where we've landed on the key issues. So with that kind of overview in mind, I'm happy to answer any questions about the draft document that I provided to you. I can even do a 2-minute cook's tour of it if you're interested.
Councillor Morris. You are muted, Councillor Morris.
Peter, recommendation 2, is it 14 million cubic meters of airspace?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions about those recommendations? This is just the overview, but it gives us a good example of what our team has been working on. Is there anything specific that you wanted to highlight tonight, Peter?
I don't think so at this point. The only thing I'll say is that there are seven areas where we have identified issues that should be addressed. And they're significant issues, we think. We think they're important that WM look at them carefully. And but again, I'm going to be cautious here and not really open up too much of a public debate around these issues until WM has a fair opportunity to respond to them. Because, you know, sometimes through dialogue, you can learn more about the project and maybe come together, we're hopeful, come together on what the final terms of reference should look like. But so that's my thought, Mayor Rombouts. I don't think we need to go into too much detail at this stage, but that we should come back to council once we have heard from WM on these recommendations. And that, of course, is quite similar to past processes we've used for our annual reports. And I think we should maintain that approach here.
Yep, I think that's fair to give Waste Management the opportunity to respond to these. And are you looking for anything from council this evening, or just this is kind of an overview of what's going on and just an update of what to expect going forward?
Yeah, I think that's, I did have a draft recommendation, but I think, you know, the recommendation was essentially for us to move forward with this, with the final report. There'll be an opportunity for the subcommittee to look at it one more time this week before it goes out. And so that's the general recommendation, is that, and I did put that recommendation into words in my summary report. So I think it's appropriate to maybe pass that recommendation. But the thrust of the recommendation is simply to indicate that you've received the report and that it's going to be finalized through some further discussion with your subcommittee. And then it will be forwarded to WM within the next week.
All right, Councillor Morris, so did you have another question, or did you?
Yeah, one more quick question, Peter. On your people that are on the team, I didn't see anybody on landscape like we had before to keep them on their toes for how it's going to look.
Yes, we do have a landscape person. That's under visual. He's
okay, all right.
And so at this stage in the process, you want somebody who knows how to do visual impact assessments.
Okay.
Because there's going to be a significant change to the visual environment. I think it's fair to say with this.
Very much so.
So I think you need an impact assessment. So we've had a visual expert who's reviewed the approach to the visual impact assessment, has comments on it, and we'll be providing those to WM.
Okay, thank you. I have no other questions.
All right, Council, there is, as Mr. Pickfield mentioned on the second page of the report, a recommendation for council to consider. Do we have a mover and a seconder for that? Councillor Morris and Councillor Mitchell. Any other questions or concerns about that? All in favor? That is carried. All right. Great job, Mr. Pickfield. We really appreciate having you on the team. You guys are way better at all of this than we are, and so it's great to have you on our side.
I want to point out that this is to be continued, because we'll be back in front of council again once we see the outcome of this process.
That's great. So that's next steps, is that we will have the TOR go over it, or the group go over it, and then submit it to Waste Management. Do we have a timing for when we would expect Waste Management to get back to us?
No, we don't. We haven't heard back on how quickly they'll get back to us, but I can follow up and maybe let Amanda know if I'll ask that question of them if they have it. But I think it's fair to them to see the document first before they give us a sense of time frame of when they can get back to us.
Okay, that sounds fair. Awesome.
Good.
If there's no other questions for Mr. Pickfield, we will let you go for the night. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Good to see you all. Cheers.
Take care.
Take care.
All right, council, we are just moving along. So we have come to the point where we are at the in-camera session. So we need a mover and a seconder to move in camera, moved by Councillor Mitchell, seconded by Councillor White. All in favor? That is carried. So for our viewers on YouTube, we wish you a good evening. And we will be coming into open session, but just to close out the meeting, so we will not be coming back on YouTube. So I wish you all a good evening and